Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Governor Andy Beshear pushes for more investing in education before the next General Assembly. And a retired Kentucky Army Master Sergeant works against the clock to get enough votes to pass an act meant to help veterans across the Commonwealth.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Well, y'all, it is Friday and it's almost 5 o'clock. Good morning to you. I'm Dakota Maycris. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Let's head over to Brandon this morning for a look at our weather. And Brandon, pretty calm outside, I guess. Kind of a chill in the air this morning.
Bit of a chill this morning.
Yeah.
We do have a few clouds, but it is a little chilly in some spots, more chilly in some spots than others. But I do think those clouds will go away pretty quickly, and it's going to be a fairly nice end to the work and school week. Let's take a look and see what's going on this morning. A few clouds out there, but again, kind of thinner in some areas, and that's allowing for some more chill. 32 right now in Clintwood, 44 in Jackson, 46 in Pikeville, 36 in Manchester, 39 here in Hazard, and Jacksboro 2, 38 in Irvine, 43 Somerset and London. So a little extra on your coffee meter this morning, and you may run into a few clouds out there as you start out the door, especially in some of those western counties, but I do believe those will clear pretty quickly, and we'll see temperatures near 70 degrees later this afternoon. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, Governor Andy Beshear is pushing for more investment in education before the next General Assembly. On Thursday, he outlined his goals to create more funding. It comes after national and statewide test scores showed the tremendous impact of the pandemic on students. Well, the governor says most recent data shows that Kentucky has nearly 11,000 teaching vacancies, and that is in part leading to the lower scores being seen in the national report card and state report card.
I know our legislature would want to be thoughtful on this, but this is one they ought to be directly discussing because that is a real way that we can ensure our teacher shortage is temporary and not long-term.
Well, the governor says the state has a tremendous surplus, and projections from this year show that will grow by 11% by the end of the year. He's calling on lawmakers to use that money to invest in education. Well, the governor appointed longtime Martin County Dr. Lon Lafferty as the interim Martin County Judge Executive. Earlier this month, current Martin County Judge Executive Colby Kirk announced his resignation from the job to take over as the new president and CEO for One East Kentucky. Lafferty will serve the remainder of the term, which ends in December.
I'm prepared to get to work on Friday to begin the process of moving Martin County forward. The job is big and there is much to do.
Well, he is one of several write-in candidates on the ballot for the general election on November 8th. He also previously served in the role from 1999 to 2003. A retired Army Master Sergeant is working against the clock right now, trying to get enough votes to pass a bill in Washington from his hometown of Paris. Leo Skinner wants Kentucky legislators to vote for the Major Richard Starr Act. The act would give veterans with combat-related injuries full disability and retirement pay regardless of the number of years they served. Right now, veterans only get concurrent retirement disability pay 20 years in.
I have a buddy from 3rd Group Special Forces who's a retired Sergeant Major who did 19 years, 224 days. And he is ineligible to receive concurrent retirement disability pay. It wasn't their fault that they were injured in combat, but yet because they didn't serve the full 20 years, they're having a direct offset, which is affecting them financially.
Well, Skinner says he will keep fighting if the act is not passed before the end of this congressional session. Absentee in-person voting is underway in Kentucky for those who can provide a valid excuse for why they can't vote in person. There's a list of those on govoteki.com, or you can contact your local clerk's office. And in less than 1 week, early in-person voting begins with no excuse needed, but you'll need to check locally for the places you can early vote. Election day itself is Tuesday, November 8th, when all polling places will be open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time. Everything is online these days, and that can be a challenge if you live in a rural area like we do here in the mountains. Efforts to improve internet access in rural communities took a step forward on Thursday. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced $759 million in grants and loans to expand high-speed internet. The funds will target small towns and farm communities and will be distributed in 24 states, including here in Kentucky. Invest 606 announced the finalist for its Accelerator and Pitch contest. 9 businesses will take part in the training and compete to win more than $30,000 in prizes. The mission of Invest 606 is to bring out the best in businesses in Eastern Kentucky, specifically ones that do so much for the community. Cold Country Candles here in Hazard is one of the 9 businesses, and owner Randy Gabbard says he is ready to burn through the competition.
I look forward to going through all the work it's going to take to be a number 3 finalist, hopefully, and it's going to be challenging.
The final pitch contest will be in Corbin next April. Well, we want to remind everyone the deadline for flood victims in our region to register for FEMA help is today. You can get help registering for FEMA by visiting one of the disaster recovery centers throughout the region. If you cannot make it to a recovery center, there are still ways to get help. You can visit FEMA's website or call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362. Well, thank you so much for getting your Friday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up next, there's another grim discovery in the nation's largest water reservoir, continuing to trend of shocking finds as its water levels decrease.
And today is the 3-month anniversary of those July floods. Hard to believe that, but we are coasting into the last weekend of October on a dry note. Will it last? I'll have the answer in about 3 minutes.